So, welcome to Future Campus. My name's Tim Winkler. We've got Sarah Pearson, who is newly installed as the Chancellor of UNE. Now, Sarah, welcome. Firstly, what's your ambition for UNE over the next 3 years?
Well, it's lovely to meet you, Tim, and thank you for having me. Um, I want to start by saying that UNE is a fantastic university. It's been lovely asking some of my colleagues, for instance, in the venture capital world, who say, goodness, UNE is a really special place. It's a really special place in our whole unique sector in Australia. So that's what I want to start with, that it's already fabulous. But in terms of the ambition, I think we can be even more fabulous. I have a couple. One is, how do we make sure that we're really helping engage within our local region and helping to build that local region? And that can be economically as well as socially. How do we engage the young people to see there's a future for them in higher education? And then, big things afterwards, maybe growing businesses, maybe becoming entrepreneurs, maybe being innovative in their home, their family business, whatever it is they want to do, but just to do it with excellence and with innovation. So that's one piece. There's also a part to that puzzle is the social infrastructure. So how do you have your university helping with the social infrastructure in that region as well? So how can we do more of that and really make New England this amazing attractor that will have so many people wanting to come and live up with us? The second piece I'd love to look at is, and it's really core to my heart, is making sure that people who don't normally think that higher education is within their grasp have that opportunity. And if you look at future jobs, 75% of future high growth jobs need science, technology, engineering, and maths, and 65% of them don't exist yet. So we need to be developing people who at least understand a little bit about STEM. They don't actually have to be scientists, but they can understand, and also entrepreneurs, because otherwise we're going to miss out on these high growth industries, which means well paid, good jobs. So how do we make sure that no one gets left behind in that, and we draw people across Australia through our either coming to the campus and staying in the colleges or through our wonderful online approach to education?
Do you think UNE for many years had a great reputation as a residential campus, and then it sort of moved perhaps from that into the online space? Do you think there is a strong future now for that residential campus experience that's going? Because certainly the government seems to want to push us back that way.
Yeah, I think, because my experience as a young person when I went to uni is very much we all left home and went somewhere. I mean, it's thank God I can escape. I'm going to go somewhere and become an adult. How good is this? When we didn't become adults, but still we had a good time. Um, and so I see the value of that because of the networks, the strong networks you build when you do that, and when you go out into the world of work and life, it's just so important to have those networks and people that you've gone through those really big transitional times in your life. That can be really important. I think also from the education perspective, I mean, there's nothing, online is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's really great. It democratizes access to knowledge and to certificates and all the rest of it that you need. But I think being face to face, you can't beat face to face. And that was something actually I enjoyed when I worked at UNE, was that we'd have our distance students would come for a week and spend a week face to face. So they still got that. So I think that face to face is really important. You can ask all sorts of weird and wonderful questions of people face to face. So yeah, I think the two are really important.
Now, I would certainly like to congratulate you for landing at the start of your term in perhaps the most turbulent time in higher
Yeah.
education in Australia for living memory.
Yeah.
Where to from here? Do you feel optimistic about the sector? It's difficult sometimes to feel that sense of optimism, given both sides of politics are saying universities need to change a lot right now.
Well, I guess I'm a natural optimist. Like even in really I mean, I don't want to underplay the difficulties. I really don't want to underplay that. But in difficult times, it's much easier to change. People don't like change. I mean, I like change, but most people don't. And in times of difficulty, when you have to change, that gives you so much scope to do things in a different way that you wouldn't have had that scope to do originally. So yeah, it's challenging, but what an opportunity to actually rethink how we do higher education, to rethink what the role of a university is within its region, within the country, within the world. So I think from that perspective, it's really exciting times.
Do you get a sense that the sector has lost a bit of love from the community, that its social license has been eroded?
Well, I haven't seen the trust numbers, but I know that um, researchers and universities are people that are trusted. And during COVID, from memory, the universities were trusted. I mean, there was a lot of work that was done by scientists around Australia to help during COVID. So I think maybe there's more trust than people think. One of the issues we might have, and I don't have data for this, but I'm just looking at America and what's happened there. If you get this bifurcation of society, then people who don't get a higher education can be quite anti people who do because they seem to be doing better. So, it's really important that we don't have that bifurcation in our society. Universities need to actually just expand and look out and make themselves accessible to everybody. Otherwise, yeah, we will run into trouble. Have we gone down that road? I don't know. I mean, I've just been involved in universities where we've been thinking, well, what is our role? Actually, our role is blah, blah, blah for the nation or blah, blah, blah for the region. So I feel quite confident there are plenty of universities around who are seeing this new way of, who are they? Well, we're in a region or the nation. What are we doing to help them?
There's also been a strong focus on governance of late, and the role of councils in governance. In the past, councils have been often seen and not heard. Do you think there's a time to change the way we look at governance and how councils operate?
Absolutely, and I think they are changing. I'm certainly seeing change in the ones I've been involved in that we're moving to more towards a commercial type model of a CEO, a board, and a chair, and we're getting more and more people on councils and in the chancellery who have a commercial background. The challenge there is to make sure we don't miss balance because we're not commercial entities. We're actually entities delivering on a purpose, to grow the skills of the nation, to grow knowledge for the nation, to grow society. So that strong balance is still needed. So that's a trick for us as we go on this governance journey. But there are obviously a lot of skills that you'd find in a commercial boardroom that will be very important within a university boardroom, as they are across the not-for-profit sector. And the charity sector, such as financial skills and understanding, where I never forget my first board, we had a red line. Okay, if our cash goes below this line, we stop. Now, I'm not suggesting that universities are in that situation, but still, people who understand what money means and how to deal with that in a complex situation. And it's not just the councils. So you need to, because a council can't just go and say, we will do blah, blah, blah. You've got to bring people along too. And I think the urgency of what needs to be done needs to be felt and then acted on by people in other parts of the university. So deans, heads of faculty, people who are out there at the coalface, so they can understand why universities need to do what they need to do financially.
And so, in practical terms, does that mean more training available for staff?
I think that could be, and certainly, so that's one way of doing it. I'd love to see more engagement between councils and staff too. It can be quite often that councils will meet in this one stuffy room, and they'll always meet in that one stuffy room. But some models I've seen work, and in the commercial world as well as the university or higher education world, is actually take your meetings out to where people are, and then have tours of where they are and get to know them. Having dinners the night before and inviting staff so that you break down this us and them, because it's not an us and them. We're all there to make the university an amazing and wonderful place to work and to have impact.
So, when you're working towards your first Christmas party address as Chancellor, it might seem a little trite, but I've selected Christmas party just because it's a coming event.
Yes.
There will be at least a gathering. What's that one point that you would make that would leave staff with a sense of optimism about where the sector as a whole is going, that you
Yeah.
think that we can grab onto right now?
I'd say, that I firstly would recognize they're challenging times because you have to get in. It is. You can't get away from that. They are challenging times, but a country could not be a developed country without a thriving, excellent higher education sector. Otherwise, we'll just become the banana republic. So the country needs us, and it needs us to do a fantastic job for the people within Australia. And with that obligation, there are actually a bucket load of opportunities for us to do it and to change our models and see if we can experiment and be agile and do things a bit differently, to see how we can do that better.
it's the perfect place to stop. But at the same time, I've really got one more point that I want to get to. AI. You've worked
Oh
in
yeah.
AI in your career. You're
Mm.
obviously extremely au fait with what it can do. Where do you think AI is headed for the sector and the sector vice versa with AI?
Well, I mean, firstly, obviously, the sector is really key in terms of AI because that's where a lot of the research happens around AI. So I would imagine that a lot of the ideas, I mean, I know that the commercial world is obviously investing in this too, but what a great opportunity for universities to really be jumping in. And that's not necessarily just having AI, growing the AI field. It's also growing the applications of AI. So I think that's one thing, pushing the boundaries in terms of or learning more about what we can be doing with AI in a moral and ethical framework. And that's another thing that universities can do is help define that moral and ethical framework. And then what I see within the commercial world too is you can use AI to benefit your students. So how do you deliver your services better? Well, AI can help you deliver them better. So how do you use AI to do that better? And how do you use AI to help you make decisions better? How do you use AI to do your job better? Like, marketing would be one, yes. But your marking, there's all sorts of ways you can use it to do your job better. So, yes, so we can be forefront of understanding it and developing it, forefront of using it for the benefit of our students and for our staff, and then helping to develop those frameworks around doing it morally and ethically.
Sarah, thanks so much. I know I've taken much too much of your time today, but really looking forward to talking more in the future.
Me too. Thank you, Tim.